Mabuhay Philippines, Xin Chao Vietnam. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us live this Sunday afternoon. I'm broadcasting live from Ho Chi Minh City. I know we have people watching from Thailand, from the Philippines, my home country. We also have people watching from Manila and Masbate, the island I grew up from. Ayo po na hapon sa iyo tanan dida nagakita sa amon. My name is Paul. Of course, I will be your host for this afternoon's show. We are broadcasting live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on WellNest Facebook page. This event, of course, is brought to you by WellNest.app. So if you're looking for coaches from different categories, either mental health, performance, spiritual coaches, please head on to WellNest.app. Also, we are broadcasting live on WisePass Facebook page. Mr. Lam, Sin Chao, WisePass team, good afternoon. All right. And of course, move up that app. All right. This afternoon, I want to begin with this quote that I saw this morning when I was reflecting a little bit about our topic today. And it's by Maya Angelou. And it says, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. I just want all of us to take a little bit of a pause and just really reflect to this, because there's so many things that are happening around us, so many things that sometimes not expected, and for sure change is inevitable. We need to accept that change truly will happen to us, but if it's something that we don't expect or something that is not good, this second part of the sentence is so powerful when she said, but I refuse to be reduced by it. So I chose this quote for this afternoon because we're going to talk exactly about that. And I am so lucky because I got a yes from this powerful lady. Not only because she's a big boss, but I know her personally, and she's one of the most inspiring and most powerful woman as a person that I know and that I have as a friend here in Vietnam. So Manila, Ho Chi Minh City, wellness, coaches, and audience, help me welcome Miss Tina de la Cruz. Hello,
Hi,
Miss
Paul.
Tina.
Wow, that's such a nice
Correct.
intro. That's a powerful intro.
I have no script. I was just praying for it. Like, please, Lord, let me say, we're broadcasting live and there are dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of people watching us from different groups. I said, Lord, please give me the right words to say, because I don't want to intro you on a business perspective. I know you in person, and I think that's a more powerful side of you. So thank you so much for saying yes for this conversation, Miss Tina.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Let's do a couple of quick shout outs, Miss Tina, for our live audience. We are joined, of course, by my boss, um, Sir Eman. Sir Eman is watching us live from
Hello
the
po.
Philippines. Sir Horeb is also joining us live from the Philippines. Miss Shello, who's joining us from Ho Chi Minh
Hi,
City from my team.
Michelle.
Hello. And of course, Coach Ann. I think I should intro Coach Ann and Miss Tina after this show. Thank you so much, Coach Ann, for joining us live today. All right. Miss Tina, for the interest of the people who are watching, as I said earlier, I see some friends watching us live on LinkedIn, some on YouTube,
Mhm.
and some here on Facebook, and we can see their comments here. For the interest of everybody who's watching, can you tell us a little bit about your career journey? How did you end up in Saigon and become the Miss Saigon of Philippine Airlines?
Well, first off, okay, for my career journey, Philippine Airlines was not my first job. So I started in the call center industry. So I was selling True Yellow Pages. I was selling um, broadband internet at that time. Singular Wireless was my account. So after the stint with call center, I took a hiatus and then I tried Philippine Airlines, and luckily I got in. So I started as ticketing agent. Okay, so we called it a sales representative, a sales and services agent in Philippine Airlines. And then after that, I moved up to become a staff assistant, which is translated parallel to an admin assistant of an AVP. And then afterwards, I transferred. I became a sales rep okay, after becoming a sales rep for, I think, a good 7 or 8 years, um,
Wow.
I became a sector manager for handling Greater China. And then afterwards, I was also assigned to handle Asia as a whole. And then afterwards, I was posted here in Vietnam. So that's the
Mm.
career path. It's quite a long path, though. Yeah.
Mm-mm. What do you think is the main difference? Like working, because you've worked most of your time in the Philippines, although you're handling, of course, greater
Mhm,
like
mhm.
Asia market, right? But what do you think is the main difference with working here in Vietnam and then working in the Philippines?
Main difference. Of course, different culture. You have to adjust to a different
Mm.
culture, different language. You really have to immerse. Like, because if you're a Filipino working in the Philippines, then you would, in an environment, in an HR environment, in a corporate environment, then you would understand how it is, the dynamics of being in the Philippines. But however, since I handled Asia, and I have dealings with our managers in Asia. So um I already have an idea about about their culture, idea,
Mm.
just an idea. Of course, you cannot say that you really know because you're not there, right? So I
Mm.
think, but I think being in that position prepared me for this job. So I
Mm.
would say it's not really a big transition for me because I was handling Vietnam
International, yeah.
for maybe 2 years, 2 years
Mm. Mm.
before I came
And
here.
for Yeah, for those who are watching, just a quick trivia. The Philippine Airlines office in Vietnam is opposite our previous office in my company,
Yeah.
with with Move Up. And she's so busy. Like I was living in Thailand and I would come back once a month in Ho Chi Minh to check up the city, and I would message her, we need to like negotiate schedule, because she was so busy all the time. Even if our office was opposite each other, it was difficult for us to find a common time, right, Miss Tina?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
All right.
2019 was a banner year for me. Yeah,
Oh.
it was pretty hectic. Yeah.
Let's complete a couple of sentences, Miss Tina, just for our audience to know you a little bit more. This first sentence: I am passionate about.
I am passionate about mm, my faith. Yeah, my
Mm,
faith. Mhm.
all right. I am at my happiest when.
I'm in a bookstore. Yeah, my favorite is
Oh,
National
me
Bookstore back
too.
then. I'd spend 8 hours inside the bookstore. 8 hours. It's insane.
Me too. Me too. Actually, I what I do is like, because I travel a lot, right? I have this habit, like I like the smell, especially of new book. So even if I have an unfinished book in one city, if I go back to Saigon, for example, I intend to leave it so I could buy a new book in in the airport and then read it in the flight. I love books as well. All right,
You're a
Miss Tina, I
purist
have.
because you love the smell of the book and the feel of flipping the
Yes.
pages, right? Mm.
Yeah. Miss Anne said, oh, wow, same here, Miss Tina. National Bookstore is love, love, love. And
I
Mr.
know.
Sir Jeff said, super excited to learn. All right. So we have some active viewers, right, this afternoon, right? Miss Tina, I think I told you already before that I have this vision, because I'm surrounded by a lot of, powerful, inspiring people like yourself. And you have such diverse experiences and expertise as well, and I always wanted to ask, like, if you could choose your top 3 learnings that you would like to teach the world or to share to the world, what would it be? And for me, it's easy because if you know a lot of things, right? But to filter it into top 3 learning, I thought that would be something so powerful to ask, and to challenge smart, inspiring, and powerful people like yourself. So I'm gonna ask you these 3 questions, and I wanted to explore a little bit why these lessons. Let's start with your top lesson 1.
Okay. Just a brief background on how I arrived with the top three. No, you'd have like thousand conversations with yourself before you ever present anything. I'm sure most of you would relate to that. But this these top three that I have, I really ask God to help me share um, my best lessons in my life, and I think and I hope that I can help others as well as much as it has helped me. Okay, so my top one would be identity. Okay, so it's quite broad, right? And when you say
Mm.
like identity, so what about identity? Um, I'm talking about the identity being that I am God's princess and I am royalty. So this is one of the backbones of my belief. And for me, knowing who you are sets your own personal standard. So why did I say that? Because if I am royalty, then needless to say, I should act like royalty. And when you act like royalty, when you also know that who you are, you expect to be treated in the same manner, right? So had I known this back like several years ago, I mean, since I was a kid, then perhaps I would have averted difficult situations, or I would have averted um, the wrong decisions in life. So for me, I wish I knew this when I was a kid. This is something that I wish I knew. The first thing that I knew is my identity as God's princess.
All right. I'm. I didn't see this coming, so
Oh, wait.
it's no, because this is such a, how do you call this? It resonates to me a lot because especially for us, for example, I've never really worked in the Philippines, Miss Tina. So as soon as I graduated, I moved to Australia, and then I arrived here in Vietnam after, and you have experiences that when I reflect back a little bit now, I mean, if I knew myself and back then, and then really fortified that sense of self, sense of identity, I could have made
Mm,
better decisions, I could have made faster
yeah,
decisions, I could have
exactly.
demanded the universe more for what I do deserve. And when I look back home, I think this is in general something that I observe for a lot of our fellow Filipinos. I feel like, I mean, it's okay to be sort of like content with what we have, right? But sometimes we don't know what we deserve because we lack that um, sense of identity. We don't know what we should ask for, so to speak. What made you decide this as your top one, Miss Tina, if you don't mind me asking?
Because
What
yeah,
would be
because
some
it really
triggers?
resonated to me. Um,
Mm.
because actually it's a broad subject, and I think we would need like one whole session just talking about identity.
Mm.
Just talking about identity, it encompasses a whole lot of different subjects like self-respect,
Mm.
self-love, empowerment,
Mm.
self-esteem. It's all rolled into one because when I came here in Vietnam, I had one goal is that I wanted to be a better version of myself. That is my one goal. But it's all in
Mm.
the head. It's all in the
Mm.
head. It's not in the heart. But when I
Mm.
think about it, oh, this is something that I should have known, that
Mm.
for me to be able to achieve that goal, to become a better version of myself, is to have to
Mm.
know my identity. Okay, maybe one example, because this is really broad, no?
Mm.
I don't know
Mm.
how it's gonna help um, our viewers. For example, um, domestic violence.
Mm.
Domestic violence. Okay, the probably one year or another, the wife is abused, or something like that. Okay, if the wife knew that she's God's princess, if she's royalty, would she allow the husband to beat her up? Right?
Mm.
No, right? if you are royalty, would you allow that to yourself? No, right? So I think this is really a broad subject, and we could talk more about it. But um, I think this is the backbone of what I believe in, what I should be, is just
Mm,
to be able to walk like like um like a like a queen, like royalty. That,
mm,
of course, it's very hard because it's like a process of purification, sanctification all your life. How can you do that? You're not perfect, right? So like every
mm,
day you'd fall and stumble, and then you get back again. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. That's not royalty like,
mm,
right? That's not princess
mm,
like. Oh, I shouldn't have
mm,
acted like that. That's not princess like.
mm,
Do you get me,
mm.
Paul? So
Yeah, and this is
this
where
is what
there's a
I'm trying
sense of
to say.
reciprocity to this as well. It's not just what you expect, but it's
Mm,
also how you are with
yes.
others. So
Mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm.
really yeah, it's two ways, right? Like I expect
Yeah,
this
yeah.
and expect to be treated this way. I don't allow these things to be done or said to me a certain way. But at the same time, because of that
Mm,
sense of identity, you also act a certain way to people, right?
yeah. And of course, if
Um,
somebody like tell, you know, this is you, or somebody says bad words to you or acts in a
mm,
in a manner that you don't like, then you always have that opportunity, that you always have that choice. Sorry, the word is
mm,
choice. You always have that choice to step back and
mm,
reassess. Do I need
mm,
this? Is this how I
mm,
want to be treated? You always have that choice.
mm. Mm. I love that line. You always have that choice. That is so powerful, actually. Just knowing the fact that, you know what, whatever you do, whatever circumstance we're in, you always have a choice. And that starts with knowing yourself, knowing what you deserve
Mm,
and what you don't deserve. And with that
mhm.
realization, you make certain decisions. That's really very powerful. We're joined by another coach, Miss Luan Tran.
Oh,
I want I want
hello.
you two to meet because she's based in Ho Chi Minh City. Miss Luan is a leadership coach and a very, very good friend of mine. She's also one of our experts in our TV show on Yan TV. So thank you so much, Miss Luan, for joining us live this Sunday afternoon. All right. Miss Tina, we're going to move on to top lesson number 2. What
Oh,
is it and
okay.
what's the story
So,
behind it?
that would be gratitude. Gratitude.
Oh.
So, yeah, the gratitude movement is real.
Mm,
So,
mm,
for me, the story behind this is that every every single day of my life, the first thing that I do when I open my eyes is to thank God for the life that I still have, that I'm
mm,
breathing.
mm,
And when you accept the fact that you own nothing in this world, everything is temporal, right? Anything you
mm,
touch, you don't own it. When you die, you can't bring
mm,
it anywhere, right? So when you accept the thought that you own nothing in this world, every blessing, whether big or small, is something to rejoice about.
mm,
So when this is your thought, it will help you get through even in the toughest times, in the most dire times, when this
mm.
is your thought, because you know that you have nothing. You came to this world, you were naked, right? You were butt
Mm,
naked when you were an infant. So you know that you have nothing, and you will go back to this world. It's just the same. You don't have anything. So yeah, that's what I do. I give thanks for everything. Like, the during this pandemic, you would realize how lucky you are,
mm,
how um, how ultimately lucky you are that you're healthy, that you're eating probably more than 3 meals a day. You have shelter, you have food on your table, you have clothes on your back, right? And you have roof above your head. This is more than enough. This is too much. This is really a
mm,
blessing.
mm. For me, it's nahihirapan ako paliwanag because it's I am very, 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 very thankful for so many, many reasons. And I have an exercise in the morning and before bed to look. Taga Masbate ako, Miss Tina. I grew up in a small island called Masbate. And with
Mm.
everything I have,
Wow.
sometimes I feel like I don't deserve or what I've achieved. But in that doubt, I doubt that doubt, so to speak, and replace that with gratitude. And then I'll just list down things that I'm so grateful about. Like my sister had a very difficult pregnancy. She lives in Scotland,
Mm.
so the the feeling of you can't do anything because you're halfway across the globe and there's a pandemic, you couldn't be there. So we were doing everything we could. It was a difficult time, but at the same time we were able to find a way. She was airlifted to the main city and all that stuff. Um, but when you're in the middle of that, and especially in the middle of a pandemic, you reflect a little bit. Look, this could be a difficult time, but we have so many things to be grateful for. Now I have a new nephew,
Exactly.
which is another reason to be grateful
Blessing.
for. I'm so
It's a
excited,
blessing.
right? I'm so
Yeah.
excited to
Yeah.
to meet him. We
See
have
to see him.
so to follow up on that one very quickly, Messina. If you have to choose, whom would you be most grateful to?
Ah, okay. I guess my parents, because
Mm,
good or bad, without them, I wouldn't be here sharing all these things to you,
mm,
right? They were
mm, mm,
instruments in
mm.
how I was brought to this world. So, my parents, I'm most grateful to my parents.
Mm. I saved this quote from Churchill. I don't wanted it to be my closing quote, but I wanted to share it now because I think it's very
Mm,
relevant with this point of conversation. It says, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." And I think this is so 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 powerful. Like whatever we're
yes.
encountering, that's just temporary. Move on. And I think to move on, one of the best thing to do is to reflect a little bit what are the things or who are the people you can be grateful for, because
Mm,
I'm sure there will be at least 100 if you just open your mind, you open your heart and say, these are the things that I'm so so grateful for having at this point. I also have a
yeah.
classmate.
Even the, like, sorry,
So
go
go ahead,
ahead,
Miss
go ahead,
Tina.
Paul. No, no,
I
no,
had a
no, 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 go
classmate,
ahead.
Miss Jean, and during the pandemic, she's a teacher in Masbate. And what she did was she had a project for, because they have distance learning, right? And then
Mm,
usually for remote places in the Philippines, you'd print the module and then you deliver. But we're an island, so we're very scattered. People
mm,
cannot go back and forth to the city. So what she did was she had little radios with USB, and all the module are already recorded on the USB. um, yeah, so I've seen a lot of big innovation done to to express their gratitude, so to speak, and that's
mm.
just one of them. You were sharing, Messina.
Yeah, on your point, that's a really a good thing that you're also being able to innovate because of gratitude, right? And because of gratitude, you're able to give kindness. You're coming from a place of compassion as well, right?
Correct.
And on that note, when you said that in a lot of things that you're doing, you're so thankful, and also in the smallest things that happen in our lives, I believe, like, for example, in on a day-to-day basis, you buy your coffee at your favorite in your favorite coffee shop, right? But you know that smallest, even if you're paying for it, you feel that you're entitled to it, right? But actually, you're also thankful for the fact that he's there making your coffee and making it
Correct.
real good. And that coffee sustains you for the rest of the day, right? And you feel
Correct.
happy and you feel um, excited about work because you have a good coffee. You had a good coffee. Um, so I think in the smallest details of our lives, we can actually apply it.
Mm. And I just realized a little bit about what you said, Messina, because for me, I have this mantra, and this is one thing that I learned in my yogi days. I was vegan, heavily doing yoga for 3 years, and in the yogi's perspective, people are only coming from two places. It's a place of love and a place of fear, um, and practicing gratitude, things that you can be thankful for, eliminates fear, and you're more operating in a space of love. And when you operate in a space of love, you're thinking, you're feeling, your the things you say becomes that, um, in that place. It's just, it's positivity, and being
Mm,
grateful and realizing things that we're grateful for is one way of moving from a state of fear to a state of love.
That's right. That's well said,
Mhm.
Paul. Yeah, that's right. You're
Mhm.
coming from a place of kindness,
Correct.
compassion, generosity, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Because when you realize, oh, I have so many things to be thankful for, then I have very little to fear. My fear slowly
Mm.
goes away because I realize more, and I'm thankful for more things, that positive things that are happening to my life. So my follow-up question for this, Messina, complete the sentence. Complete the sentence. When things don't go my way, I dot dot dot.
Oh, I pray. I pray.
Mm,
Because
mm,
it means that it is not within my limited brain cells. It's not in my
mm,
limited
mm,
knowledge that I can solve things. So I just pray. And sooner or later, the solution will present itself. God will let me know what to do.
mm. I truly, I think we've had this long conversation with Ate Melissa. Ate Melissa will watch the replay of this one because she's hosting a brunch here in Ho
Oh,
Chi Minh
yeah.
City. Yeah, but we had this conversation with her, and I think it's about solutions coming your way when you most need it. And again, going back to my yogi days, they say if you truly wish for it in your heart, in your mind, the universe will provide. When you truly have that solemn prayer and ask for something, it comes at the best moment and never question timing. There's things
Mm,
always happen and come under perfect time. I
yes.
I'm speaking from a startup journey.
Yeah.
when, when when everything, especially when I was starting out, everything is always on the edge. Always
Mm,
you think it's the last step. This is
mm,
5 7 years ago. I cannot imagine going back through the same process. But I think one thing that I really, really, truly believe is that things happen at perfect time. You just have to believe and
yes.
truly ask for it. Yeah.
That's right. If things don't go
Yeah.
your way, it doesn't mean that it will not go your way at any
Mm,
point in your
mm,
life. It just means that
mm.
there's a better venue for that, or there's a better time for that.
Yeah.
And then it will all align. And you think that, oh,
Yeah.
that's the reason why I didn't get this at this point.
Exactly.
I was praying for this, but oh, so moving on to 3 years, 4 years, oh, I got this now. Why now?
Yep.
Ah, and then you'd understand
Ah,
it's an
yes.
epiphany. It's an epiphany of
Yes.
sort that, oh, wow. And you'd like
Yep.
you get mind blowing um
Yeah.
revelation that, oh, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is so
That's
important for me to realize. Sorry, Miss Tina, go ahead.
yeah, that all the things that happened had to happen, all the stalling, all of those, maybe you didn't get this and that, you were heartbroken, all of those had to
Mm,
happen because you you will get it at this point, and it would be more
mm,
glorious, and you would appreciate it more, and
mm,
it would be a success story. It would
mm,
be more, how to say that, endearing to your heart. Like, it's a
mm,
success story, going through
mm.
all of those, and then finally getting this at this point.
Yeah, I'm listening to you, and I'm also looking at you the way you say these things, and I really can feel you, like that moment, like, oh my God. And for those people who are watching who are usually planners like myself, I usually have like 100 pages of Excel sheets because I want to plan everything. I have Kanban charts, roadmaps, Gantt charts, and all that. For planners, sometimes it's good. Look, if you're a businessman, please keep planning. That's part of our job. But there are certain things in life or in business or in any aspect of our life that happen sometimes. At a certain point, it wasn't given to you, or it didn't happen. And it was given to a certain point you least expected. And then all of a sudden, the puzzles pieces come together. And then you have that revelation of, oh my God, this is why it just happened
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
This is why. And
Yeah.
that's one of the most powerful experiences and most beautiful experiences I think I've had in my adult life. All right. Just
Mm.
very quick shout outs, Miss Tina, to some of our viewers. We're joined by Miss Kathy. Miss Kathy will be joining episode 4 of our TV show on Yan TV. She's
Hello.
the She's the CGO of Babuki.vn. So for people who wants to launch a business in Vietnam and you want some local consultants, please check out Babuki.vn. And of course, for those who just joined us, this event is of course brought to you by WellNest.app. If you're looking for coaches, therapists from mental health, performance, spiritual, please visit WellNest.app. All right, I'm just gonna play very quickly this video transition, Miss Tina. The sound effect sounds like, ang programang ito ay the after.
It's it's like an IMAX IMAX video.
Yes. All
Oh,
right, moving on the
Paul,
conversation,
I
Miss Tina. Yes,
also
Miss Tina. Yeah.
can I also make a shout out to my friends who've been like giving me their vote of confidence, like a pat on the back. Yeah, you can do
Yes.
this. So
Yep.
my YOLO Ventures friends, you know who you are here in Ho Chi Minh. And yes, from our church, thank you for praying for me. Thank you as
Mm.
always. You always stand with me in prayer. EN Vietnam. EN Vietnam.
Mm. I love this because, Messina, I'm very friendly with people I know. Like with you, of course, you know how I am as a friend, right? But you also know how I am with people I do not know. I usually don't start conversation. I'm very shy, actually. When I get comfortable with people, I'm very, very comfortable with people. But if I don't know them, I am so shy. Such an island boy. We're not used to talking to other people because we know everybody in the island, right? But I love this because we have such a sense of community in Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah.
It's so I feel so lucky and blessed. I have people like you and Atimel, for example, whom we don't talk often. We don't meet often, but when we meet, it's like another episode of Oprah show because we share each other's experiences. It's just like this, just with a little bit of something on the side. But I am so blessed with this sense of community where we empower each other, we support each other, and we share positive energy and our experiences with each other. I hope if you're watching this, if you're not comfortable reaching out to people, try to identify people who will be a positive
Yeah.
reinforcement to you because it's so powerful to have people like Miss Tina around you. All right. Miss Tina, what would be our top lesson number 3, and what's the story behind it?
Okay. Time. Time. So this
Time.
was
Oh.
dealt with me, I think, a few weeks now. So time
Mm,
is limited. Well, actually, we know that. We know that
mm,
since we're kids, right? That
mm,
time is gold. That don't waste your time, right? We know it in our head, but we don't really know it by heart. So
mm,
there's a verse in the Bible that says number your days. And I think like for the past week, it has been reinforced to me, reaffirmed to me over and over again. And I feel like I have to share it today
mm,
because also during this pandemic, what were the things that we were um, stalling? That oh yeah, we're putting off. Maybe I'll just do this next week, or oh yeah, I'll meet her next week. Oh, I'll
yeah.
text her next week, or but the pandemic has taught us that time is finite. So are
Mm,
we. So you
mm,
don't know if tomorrow you'd still be alive to tell your
mm,
story, right? You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So for me, it's really to number your days and to think about what you could have done today, especially not just with work. We all know that we
mm,
do have our deadlines, we do have all of these, but also with our relationships, with our families, with friends,
mm,
which I think is
mm,
very important, with our colleagues. Yeah. So what did I say here? So it's too not too late to say sorry, to say I love you, to reach out to long
mm,
lost friends, to help others, to learn a new hobby. Like what I said
mm.
earlier, that I came here to Vietnam with a thought that I wanted to be a better version of myself. So it's not too late to learn a new language, to to learn dancing, do what it is that you can still do while you're still alive. Okay, but of course with responsibility. Okay, it's not because
Yes,
you say you live only once, but of course with responsibility. Yeah, that's it.
I love. Miss Muffet said, very inspiring. It's, Miss Anne
Oh,
said
thank
also it's
you,
very
thank you.
inspiring. Right. So we have. I'm so happy to read this messages and these comments because it means we resonate to our audience. So for people who are watching, by the way, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on other Facebook pages and groups, unfortunately we cannot see your comments from our back end, from our stage. We can only see comments from Wellness page and Move Up page. So if you're joining in this conversation, I hope you're enjoying the conversation here. If you have any thoughts or insights or questions you would like to ask us, please send them on Wellness page. All right. Miss Tina, what would be, let me go back to that complete the sentence thing. You said here, the biggest blessing I received is.
Oh, this one is really really important to me because I told you like the what I'm most passionate about is my faith. The biggest blessing to
Yeah.
me is when I received um Jesus as my savior, when I renewed my faith.
Mm,
And this is the best decision I've made in my entire life. In my entire life.
mm,
I'm not embarrassed to say I love Jesus.
mm,
I love Jesus so much.
mm,
So
mm.
this is the biggest blessing I received. 2020. 2020. And then, I'm
2020,
still, I'm
just
still,
last year.
yes, just last year.
Mm,
So I'm still, a baby, a baby Christian
mm,
believer. So it's a process. It's a process. So I'm thankful. I'm so happy. I'm so happy with all
mm,
my mentors who really took the time to teach me, to rebuke me when I needed to be rebuked. Yeah, to
mm,
um,
mm,
to humble me down. It's really
mm,
important. Humility is really important. Yeah.
mm. And I'm glad that this is coming from you because you're one of the most humble persons I know. And I've met a lot of people with your standing, and you're, when we sometimes this is a true story, guys. So I'm wearing my contact lenses now, that's why I can see the screen, but usually I cannot see very clearly, and because I don't like wearing my eyeglasses when I'm in public, I'm technically blind walking the streets of Saigon, right? Every time she sees me on the street, she's like, Paul. She always starts the conversation. And this is something that, I've seen big bosses, powerful men and women, either in politics or in corporate life. And it's very rare to meet someone like you who's just so grounded. And I am so happy that this message is coming from you, saying that it humbled you this time where you renewed your faith, and I think you're the perfect messenger of this message of faith and of being grounded and humble, because you live it. You are that person, and whoever you ask, I think that I've introduced to you, they've always say, she's so down to earth, you don't know she's a big boss. Yeah, and it's just very powerful receiving that message and hearing that from you. um, Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
What would be
Thank you, Paul.
No, no, thank you, Miss Tina. Miss Anne said, so proud and grateful to hear this from you, Miss Tina. Um, and she also said, I am not just hearing the sharing itself, but I am seeing the heart of the sharers. Thank you, Paul and Miss
Oh,
Tina. All right. Oh, we have you. You equally inspire us, you our audience, because this is such. We usually have these conversations in private over dinner with friends and close friends and so on, and we thought these are powerful messages, and I'm glad that it resonates to all of you. Miss Tina, this is not part of my questions here, but I was just wondering what would be the most difficult question you've encountered in the past few years?
wow. I don't know if I can answer that. It, I,
Mm,
I,
mm,
I, I don't know. Top of mind, I don't know.
mm.
Uh, I don't really know the answer to your question, Paul.
Yeah. For
Um,
me, it's like, when is the time to go back home in the Philippines? That's my biggest question, my toughest question all the time. Because I lived in Vietnam for a while, I lived in Australia, I lived in Thailand. I've been always finding when is the best moment for me to say, it's time for me to go back home. Um, that's my biggest question that I've encountered so far. All right. For the yeah, Miss Tina, for the interest of time, it's almost an hour, and thank you so much for allowing us to
oh,
have you in the show. Oh
wow, the
yes,
time passed by so quickly. We didn't really notice that
right,
it's an hour now.
right. Just like our dinners, we have usually 3 hour dinners,
Oh, yeah.
and we don't know. All right. A couple of probably last two questions. And if you ladies and gentlemen who are watching us have any questions for Miss Tina, feel free to ask them in the comment section. I will try to prolong the last two questions so we have an opportunity to ask her questions. Miss Tina, I have here, I am most excited about,
I'm most
um,
excited about.
yeah,
Okay, that's a question. I have to fill it out,
yes,
right?
yes.
I'm most excited about um, the next season in my life, 2022, right? It's another season, it's another year. Yeah, I'm most
Mm.
excited
I thought you're
about
gonna
that.
say the next season of my K drama. She love. Quick fact: she likes K drama.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward for 2022 too. I am very
Yeah.
excited for post lockdown era, so to speak.
Yes,
It's gonna be
yes. It's
amazing.
an you have to be optimistic, right? Even if
Mm,
you can see it now, even if you can see it now, you have to be positive that things will get better, and it will. It will.
mm,
It's just a matter of mindset training that you can't always be in the dark like, oh, things are
mm,
bad, things are this and that, right? You can't always be in the negative.
mm,
It's more of like you have to, it's not toxic positivity, but it's more of like
mm,
being positive that things will get better and
mm,
that you can conquer it. You can be victorious in
mm,
in most aspects of your life, right? Whether, but
mm,
if you can't find it, if you can't be victorious in at one point, at this time, or at this moment, it's fine. It will come
mm,
when it comes.
mm. Just very quickly on positivity. One thing, terminology wise, one thing that I've learned last year in 2020 is the difference with positive thinking and optimism. So technically, optimism is being, positive about what's to come without first considering the facts, and then number two, planning and working on your next move. That's optimism. Positive thinking is laying down the facts, the truth, the reality that you are in right now, the possibilities that could come, and deciding what your possible next actions. That is positive thinking. So I always encourage the people I work with, especially those who are managing teams, that it's great to be optimist if you're planning your trip, but when you're managing teams, when you're managing your life, positive thinking is more recommended. Um, don't be afraid to lay down the reality. Don't be afraid to lay down what's to come. Accept all of that, and then with a positive mindset, create the plan, your next move. That's positive thinking. Now, if you're planning your trip for next year, be an optimist. Go ahead, list down all the best beaches and then just go for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's be
um,
positive about that. Olen.
no, I am positive about that. I'm flying to London actually next Saturday. So I got my visa yesterday. So I'm flying to UK to meet my nephew. Miss Tina, we have a question from Miss Anne, and she said, Miss Tina, if you are to describe yourself now in one word, what would that be and why?
Wow.
Grabe
Okay.
si coach.
I, yeah, privacy coach. Um, okay. I'm not yet this, but I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be.
Mm,
Okay. I'm not yet. I'm not yet at this stage, Miss Anne. I'm trying to be. I want to be a servant leader because I
mm,
figured that moreover, I came from a call center industry and I was selling internet. I was selling internet to old people, like, but
mm,
they don't know how to use the laptop. So how do you turn on this contraption? Blah 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 blah. So I'd walk through. Oh, you have to do this and da 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 da.
mm,
Okay, so of course, you know what would happen, right? You won't really get as much sales as you would want to because you were troubleshooting, whereas that's not
mm,
your work, right? So in hindsight, in retrospect, now that I think about it, oh, maybe that I was really born to serve. Okay, and I think in the course of my journey that it's always been customer service. It's yes, I'm in sales. I'm in sales.
mm,
I've been selling for like the longest time. Even I was as a kid, I would sell miniature chocolates to my classmates. But now that when I think about it, I'm selling, but it's really with customer service. I'm in a customer service industry.
mm,
So I think, okay, I want to be a servant leader. I want to be
mm,
able to inspire. I want to be able to serve others, not just the people, not just the riding public, not just the
mm,
people who will fly Philippine Airlines, but I want
mm,
to serve my parents. I want to serve my kids. I want to serve the people around me.
mm,
Yeah. So
mm,
that's my goal. So I'm not yet there. I'm trying. I'm trying, Miss Anne. I'm
mm,
trying. Yeah, because the context of that is that when you know that how Jesus, he's a God, right? But you know that he served the disciples, even washed their feet, right? And when you see this, how can I not be a servant leader when even Jesus washed the feet of his disciples? So I'm coming from that context. I'm coming from that context.
Coach Ann said, God bless your heart, Miss Sina. God bless you abundantly. I think
Thank you
it's
po.
powerful. I'm gonna look into that servant leadership. I've heard that a lot of times, Miss Sina, because my major in UP is actually development communications. So how do you use broadcasting, journalism to develop communities? So we servant leadership is one of the contexts that we've extensively explored on how it can help
Mm.
grow communities back home in the Philippines. All right, Miss Tina, for our final message, I want to divide this into three. That would be what's your final message to all leaders who are watching us right now?
Mm. Okay, for the leaders, it's a tough time to be a leader right now during the pandemic, but
Mm,
stay strong and nothing is permanent. All of these, even the hardships, even this pandemic will go away. This that's a positive note on that, and that we just need to be grounded, and of course, pray. Still pray. For me,
mhm,
that's the best message that I can give to our leaders is to pray.
Mhm.
It's really to pray.
All right.
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of Filipino overseas Filipino workers who are watching. We are also broadcasting live on Filipinos in Vietnam group. What would be your message to our fellow OFWs?
Oh, hello po mga kababayan natin. Kaya po natin 'to. And
Yes.
I know we can we can survive this. And just the thought of that, that there's you have to see it, that it will be fine. Okay, you have to believe in your heart, have faith that it will be fine. Okay, and pray that to God that for whatever strength that you need, for whatever, you have to surrender it all to Him. That's it. Yeah, that's my message.
All right. And to all our viewers, Miss Tina, do you have final message to the
I think it's the
coaches?
same.
All right.
It's really the same for all the viewers. Yeah, it's just really to to surrender it and pray and be have faith that things will get better. Have faith. Yeah, it all starts with the mindset, right? It all starts there. Yeah, that it's the seed. Yeah, it will get better.
All All right, fantastic. Maraming salamat, Miss Tina. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. To those who are watching, we learned three very powerful messages today. Your sense of identity, knowing who you are, to be always grateful, find things that you want, that you are grateful for, and to realize the value and the concept of time. Miss Tina, can you help me say Mabuhay Philippines?
Mabuhay, Philippines.
All right, very Philippine Airlines, right? Xin chào, Vietnam. My name is Paul. I'm your host. Thank you for watching for another episode of Wellness Talk.